Good afternoon. Here is the midday news on OGBC. My name is Bumi Makinde. First, the major items. President Buhari calls for tighter border security. The INEC bus as a in Kenya. Ministers are to forgo salary to support drought affected citizens. President Muhammadu Buhari has again called for tighter border security in the Lake Chad region to consolidate the gains of security agencies against terrorist activities in the Sahel region of West Africa. The president made the call in his opening address at the 16th summit of the heads of states and government Basin Commission (LCBC) held in Abuja. Buhari, who is the chairman of the summit of heads of state by terrorists in the region, have been very while the influx of weapons is posing fresh challenges. There is the urgent need for collaborative actions by border control agencies and other security services to stop the circulation of all illegal weapons in the region. Meanwhile, Professor Yemi Osinbajo has stated that no society can survive through dishonesty, greed, or theft. The Vice President made this known while speaking in Abuja on Tuesday. Professor Osinbajo, in a statement by his aide, Mr. Laolu Akunde, described corruption as a crime against the society and even children yet unborn. He added that the greatest challenge the country is facing is how to safeguard the youth from the ethical crisis and confusion confronting the nation, as well as the error of thinking that there will be no consequence for defrauding others or the government. In the meantime, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Usman Baba, has warned men of the Nigerian police force to be apolitical as the 2023 general election draws near. IGP Baba handed down this warning while speaking in Abia on Tuesday. The police boss, addressing his men, urged them to be diligent and firm, asking them not to introduce pre-model loyalty and other sentiments in their policing network. He stated that the officers have a duty to police the election security before, during, and after the 2023 general elections. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has assured Nigerians that the series of attacks on its facilities in some parts of the country would not in any way affect the credibility of the 2023 general elections. The INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, gave the assurance during an on-the-spot assessment of the Abeokuta South Local Government Office of the Commission that was recently set ablaze by unknown arsonists. He also assured the people of Abeokuta South Local Government that none of them will be disenfranchised during the forthcoming elections, stressing that all the 65,699 permanent voter cards that were destroyed in the fire disaster would be reprinted and distributed before the elections. Noted that five of INEC offices have been attacked in the last 4 months in different parts of the country. The INEC boss maintained that the unfortunate electoral body from conducting free next year. Move to boost security within its borders and adjoining states, the Kogi state government has signed a memorandum of understanding with Chinese investors for the provision of a high energy security architecture that will capture movements in and out of the state from a control center. The chief executive officer, Kogi State Investment Promotion and Public-Private Partnership Agency, Mr. Abdulkarim Shiyaka, who made this known in Abuja, explained that a lot of work went into the conceptualization and design of the project that would greatly improve the state economy while also bringing insecurity to a halt in Kogi State as well as across adjoining states. He said in sealing this laudable security control deal, all stakeholders, including the Army, Department of State Services, Navy, Police, and local vigilantes, among others, were carried along. Mr. Siyaka noted that the project was expected to create over 685,000 jobs, attracts over 591 billion naira investment yearly, while also encouraging migration to rural areas in the states. You are listening to the Midday News at OGBC 90.5 FM. Kenya ministers will forego their salaries for 1 month in solidarity with people who have been affected by the ongoing drought in parts of the country. A statement from the presidency said the cabinet agreed that the funds collected from all members of the cabinet would contribute to the state's efforts to support the affected Kenyans. It noted the unacceptability high prices of the staple food maize and placed market support for farmers who were harvesting their crop. A minister had earlier indicated as the country will be importing millions of tons of maize, but the cabinet noted that this would now be done in February in order to give the farmers authority to sell their produce to the markets. Millions of Kenyans are currently facing hunger due to the ongoing drought and are in dire need of food aid. The US says it has serious doubts about the credibility of Equatorial Guinea's election results. Equatorial Guinea's election results, the longest serving president continuing his 43-year rule. According to election officials, President Theodore Mbasugo, 80, secured almost 95% of votes. It said there were credible allegations of significant election-related irregularities, including documented instances of fraud, intimidation, and coercion. President Mbasugo seized power in 1979 after a military takeover and has survived several coup attempts. He has a strong grip on the several coup attempts. He has a strong grip on the whole African nation. The leader of Asia has been found guilty of plotting to stop US President Joe Biden from taking office after the 2020 election. A jury found Oath Keepers founder Stewart Rhodes guilty of a rare charge of seditious conspiracy following a 2 month trial. He plotted an armed rebellion to stop the transfer of power from Mr. Donald Trump to President Biden. 4 more were on trial with him related to the 2021 Capitol riots. The verdict comes after 3 full days of jury deliberation. The German capital is struggling to properly house Ukraine's refugees as almost 1,000 people sleep in giant heated tents on an old airfield on the outskirts of Berlin. And as winter deepens and Russia continues to attack Ukraine's infrastructure, authorities are hastily preparing more emergency shelters in anticipation of the arrival of what they estimate could be up to 10,000 more people. A million Ukrainians have fled part of the war. These has awakened memories of 2015 and 2016 when a comparable number of people sought asylum. Former Australian Prime Minister Mr. Scott Morrison has been censured by the nation's parliament for giving himself secret powers while in office. The historic motion follows a damning report which said his actions were corrosive of trust in government. It marks the first time a former Prime Minister has been censured by the House of Representatives. Mr. Morrison has defended appointing himself to a has been censured by the House of Representatives. Mr. Morrison has defended appointing himself to several ministries, calling the censure retribution by opponents. Most ministers were unaware they were sharing portfolios with Mr. Morrison, and he has since been widely criticized, including close colleagues. On sports, world champions France will lock hands with Tunisia's Carthage Eagles in the last group game at the ongoing Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup. The leadership tutored side have already qualified for the round of 16, but will want to wrap up with 100% record. Australia will lock hands with Denmark. Argentina battle Poland for a place in the last 16, while Saudi Arabia drew battle Mexico. On Tuesday, England made it to the last 16 after thrashing Wales 3-0. USA beat Iran 1-0. Netherlands beat Qatar 2-0, and Senegal recorded a 2-1 victory against Ecuador. Security is central to the country's development. Contribute to ensuring a secure society. To end the media news, another look at the major items. President Muhammadu Buhari at the opening of the 16th summit of the heads of states and government of the Lake Chad Basin Commission called for tighter border security in the Lake Chad region. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), Professor Mahmood Yakubu, during an on-the-spot assessment of the Abeokuta South Local Government Office of the Commission recently set ablaze by arsonists, assured that the 2023 polls will be credible despite incessant attacks. We also told you that in Kenya, ministers are to forgo a month's salary to support citizens affected by droughts. The radio news was edited by Toyin Oyulumade and broadcast from OGBC, Abeokuta.